Welcome to Lawn Tips with Lou. Welcome back for another episode of Lawn Tips with Lou. In this episode, I'll go over some of the tools that I used during the course of the mowing season. I'll start by talking about my lawn mowers. And the first one that I'll talk about is my rotary mower. It's a John Deere rotary mower that I bought in the spring of 2012 when I was still living in North Carolina at the time. I moved back here to Texas in September of 2015. So together with the years in North Carolina and the past 10 years here in Texas, I've been using the rotary mower for, what would that be? 13, maybe 14 mowing seasons. So as long as you take care of the equipment, it'll last a long time. The next mower I'll talk about is my Fiskars push reel mower that I bought in the spring of 2016. So I've used it now for 10 mowing seasons. I would occasionally use the Fiskars push reel to mow my entire lawn, but most of the time I would just do my front lawn with the push reel mower and use my rotary mower to do my back lawn. This is my California Trimmer Power Reel Mower. I bought this mower in the spring of 2021, so I've used it for 5 mowing seasons now. I mow both my front and my back lawn with the Power Reel Mower, except for a few small sections in the front yard that because of the location, it's just not practical to use the Power Reel Mower in those spots. So I use my Fiskars push reel to do these 2 small areas in the front lawn. While I do most of my mowing during the course of the year with my Power Reel Mower, I continue to use the rotary mower in the spring when I do my spring scalping. And then during the course of the year, if there's any leaves or twigs or anything that need to be mowed up after a storm, I'll use the rotary mower to bag any lawn debris that needs to be picked up. And then again, in the fall, usually about mid-October, I stop using the power reel and finish out the season with the rotary mower to mow up any leaves or anything that are falling in the lawn. Before moving away from the rotary mower, let me talk about this attachment. This is a dethatching blade that you can put on the rotary mower. I bought this years ago in the late 80s when I was still living in Illinois, and it worked great for dethatching the Kentucky bluegrass lawn that I had at the time. But when I moved away from Illinois, I put this away, hadn't used it for years until maybe 6-7 years ago. I tried using this on the Bermuda lawn. I would not recommend this for Bermuda grass during the growing season. Kind of tore up the grass and kind of made a mess of it. But where I do use it, I decided that maybe about 3-4 years ago, I figured I would just try it in the spring during my spring scalp. Because I wanted to loosen up the grass, because if I just try to scalp the dormant lawn and bag the clippings, the mower would just bog down because the grass is matted down and whatnot. But I just thought, well, let me just try going through the lawn real quickly with the dethatching attachment to kind of bring up and loosen up the grass before scalping it. And this thing worked great. Because when I'd go through the lawn with the dethatching blade on it to kind of loosen up any matted down Bermuda, it cut through it, loosened it up, and then when I put the regular blade back on the rotary mower and went through to scalp and bag the clippings, the mower would cut right through it without bogging down because this dethatcher had loosened it up enough that the mower could then just mow up the clippings very easily. So, I've since trying it that 1 year, I have done this every spring. Put this dethatching blade on the rotary mower to do well, as part of my scalping process. I use it to kind of cut through the matted down Bermuda, loosen it up, help dry it up, and that way I'm able to mow up the clippings with the regular blade after having gone through it with the dethatcher. I have 2 string trimmers that I use. The one on top in this picture I bought, I think it was in 2008, in that time frame anyway. And then the one on the bottom I bought in either 2012 or 2013 when I was living in North Carolina, and my son was mowing lawns for people in the neighborhood. So I needed to buy a second trimmer at that time for him. But I've hung on to it, and I use both of these. Both trimmers take attachments. They've got a coupler in the middle, and I'll show you the picture of the coupler here. And this allows me to put on a edging attachment or the pole saw extension for trimming the trees. And while we're talking about the coupler, one thing that you need to make sure if you have a trimmer that has a coupler like this, there's some screws on the side that you need to make sure that those are tightened, because over time they tend to get loose, and if they fall out, then this coupler doesn't work very well. It gets very wobbly, and you shouldn't use it when it's like that. So, but these couplers, if you do have that situation, you have a screw fall out and you lose it, these couplers are available online. They're not very expensive, depending on where you buy it. I've seen them anywhere from $8 something up to maybe about $15. So they're not that expensive to replace if it does lose a screw or the threads wear out on because one thing about tightening those screws, you don't want to over tighten them, because you do have a tendency for the threads to strip, and the screw is going to fall out anyway. This is a new item that I've got to try this year. It's a Scarifier and a Dethatcher. Got this as a Black Friday special from Walmart for $60. Figured at that price, it's not a name brand, but I would give it a try. I figured for $60, you can't go too far wrong. But I mentioned the Dethatcher blade for my rotary mower earlier. What I thought I would try this year was using the Scarifier attachment to do some verticutting in the lawn during the course of the summer. So when that happens, I'll put out a video on that just to show how that comes out. I've talked about changing the blade on my rotary mower. When I do that, I use this blade brake or blade locking device that I bought. Um, it's fairly inexpensive. You can get it at Home Depot, you can get it at Lowe's, you can order it online. And again, it's maybe a $15 or $20 tool, but it comes in very handy because you use it to lock the blade in place on the mower when you want to undo or remove the nut that holds the blade in place, as well as when you put the blade back on and tighten up the nut. So it also works very handy. I really like using it when I change the blade on my edger attachment. Um, it's really designed for the locking the lawnmower blade in place, but it really does a good job when I change the blade on the edger attachment. I like using this rather than the tool that comes with the edger attachment. It's easier to hold the blade in place with this than with the little metal attachment that you insert into a hole and try to hold the edger blade locked in place. Now, this works much better. I have a manual aerator that I use for aerating the lawn. And I don't aerate the entire lawn. I look at specific areas where it looks compacted in the lawn and focus on those areas. And it doesn't take long to just do a few small areas in the lawn where it looks like it needs to be aerated. I don't have a major problem with weeds in my lawn because of the pre-emergent protocol that I follow. I put down a pre-emergent in March and September of each year, and then I also do a midwinter application of a pre-emergent. But during the course of the year, all lawns, regardless of the weed control that you use, you're going to get an occasional weed. And what I do is I just use like a device like this that you just manually pull the individual weed, and the problem is gone. You don't have to treat each weed with chemicals. You can very easily, in a matter of seconds, pull the weed and it's gone. This is a tool that I use to control the Bermuda to keep it from creeping into the mulch beds around my trees. The stolons and rhizomes from the Bermuda have a tendency to creep into the mulch beds. And the forked end of this tool really allows me to kind of dig in and get those rhizomes out of the ground and keep the mulch beds clean. When I first moved into the house, the lawn had a lot of, I don't know whether it was goose grass or Dallas grass, whatever it was. But anyway, this tool also came in handy because I used that forked end of the tool to kind of dig in onto the clumps of those grassy weeds and simply pull them out. And I was able to clear the lawn of those weeds very easily with this tool, and they didn't come back. In my last video, I mentioned that there was no fall color in the trees this year. After I put that video out, I noticed that some of the oak trees along the trail behind the house actually did get a little color. But the color was real short-lived. I think they had color for 3, maybe 4 days. Then they turned brown, and most of the leaves have since fallen. Thanks for watching this episode of Lawn Tips with Lou, and I'll see you next time.